everyone, I'm Nycci Nellis, and welcome to a very special edition of Industry Night. Now, I am sitting in my office, but this episode was taped in Montreal. I spent 5 days immersed in one of the world's great winter festivals, Montreal Lumière. Now, it's in its 25th year, and when I tell you the festival completely transformed the downtown into this luminous citywide celebration, it is designed to get people outside because it's Montreal in February and March, and it is cold. But the city becomes this playground of light installations and DJ sets and a skating loop. And oh my God, right outside my hotel was this Ferris wheel, live music, culinary competitions. And the legendary all-night cultural marathon known as Nuit Blanche. So there's more than 100 mostly free events that keep the city buzzing until sunrise. It's crazy. Of course, then there's the food. There's 80 restaurants participating, 90 chefs from around the world come in. Montreal's dining rooms hum with locals and visitors. Everybody's getting into it. So now over the last few days, I had the chance to experience the city in a way that only hospitality can allow. I dined at the Michelin decorated Mustard. I explored Montreal's culinary history at the On the Menu exhibit at the McCord Museum. I paid homage to the legendary deli scene at Snowden's. Smoked meats is real. I did the collaboration tea at the iconic Savillon. It was amazing. I may have partied a little at the uber chic Bar George. I brunched with all the coolest people at Lumière. I wandered and shopped through the Jean Talon market, and I was lucky enough to dine at Mon Lapin before heading to the Ferris wheel to take in the spectacle that was Nuit Blanche. Now, there were thousands of people dancing with the DJ. It was just spectacular. So here's what I've learned. Montreal doesn't just endure winter, it completely celebrates it. And what struck me most is how deeply intertwined culture and cuisine and community are in Montreal. This is a city that understands that food is identity, that restaurants are gathering spaces, and hospitality can literally light up the season. Unlike my usual 45-minute deep dive, today's show is structured a little differently. I'm just going to do these quick little 15-minute conversations with some of the coolest people shaping Montreal's hospitality landscape. And I'm going to ask each of them where they think you should go when you come to Montreal. So joining me today is Yves Lowe, Executive Chef and Gastronomy Programming Manager at the Montreal Lumière Festival. Vanya Filipovic, you know her. She's the sommelier extraordinaire at the famous Mon Lapin. Chef Ari Shore is shaking things up at Beba, and deliciously, I might add. And Chef David Lepage, he is with Hugen and Beaufort. He's cooking over a live flame. We're going to talk all about it. Tune in. Bonjour.
Oh.
Ça va? Oui, ça va. Très bien, merci. Et vous? And that is it. That is my French.
Your French is...
my high school French and my college French. Voila, it's done. So the rest of the show, I will be butchering French terribly. Do not judge me, and please correct me.
Right.
So, Yves Lowe. He is the heartbeat of this festival. I'm so excited to introduce him because he helped shape the flavor. He's the executive chef and gastronomy programming manager for this Montreal Lumière, and really the culinary force for putting this all together. This is a massive endeavor. But what you have a really rich history. You are a competitive chef. Yes. You started early. You won some competition in New Zealand, and now you're curating this massive festival. So
I'd love to start in the beginning. Describe like you're growing up in Côte Nord.
Yeah, Côte Nord.
Did I say it right?
Wow.
Côte Nord? Okay, thank you.
Your French is getting more and more better every day. You're standing in Montreal.
Here. Tell me a little bit, you call it your culinary kindergarten. I'd love to know more about that.
For me, like you said, born and raised in La Côte Nord, which is 8 hours up north from Montreal.
Okay.
You can imagine surrounded with forest. My city was Forestville. It's 3,000 citizens. It's very small. The only thing you can do over there is fishing and hunting, basically.
Okay.
You're by the St. Lawrence River. It's a beautiful space to grow as a kid. So fishing every night with my father and my neighbor, going for fishing for a few hours and then coming back home. So very connected to products back then, and just spending times outside and try even at the young age try to cook. That we were making a game out of it.
Was your mother a cook, your father a cook?
So my mother was and still an amazing cook, and I've learned a lot from her. And to be honest, like growing up, I wasn't very looking to be a cook. I was looking to be a computer programmer.
Okay.
And
a different math.
Yeah,
that's a totally different math.
And then a switch happened for some reason. At the age of 16-year-old, I started working in a McDonald's.
Okay.
And just spending hours in the kitchen kind of made me realize that to me it was just fun. And I was at the right place at the right time.
So did you train under McDonald's? Because they have an incredible training program.
The training is amazing, very disciplined, just learning how to manage your stress during a rush. And so 3 years of the McDonald's, and then all of a sudden it was time for me to finish high school and make decisions, and I choose to go in a cooking school. And then from there...
The cooking school here?
Up north.
Up north.
Now
I've
we're
heard
up
so
north.
much about the cooking school here over the last 4 days.
I wish I would have had the chance to go in ITHQ, which playing a huge role for us in Montreal. But no, I graduated from a smaller school, cooking school.
No
up
judgment.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk a little bit about your competing?
Yes.
Because that is not something that because you did it when you were young, and that is not something in the United States that there's not a lot of international competing for kids interested in the culinary arts.
Right. So if you would know me more, you give me a challenge, I'll say yes.
You're competitive.
No, like no others.
All right.
And after a few years as an apprentice in one of the best restaurants in Montreal back in the day, I told my chef, Le Mediterraneo on St. Lawrence Street. Used to be that place you want to go out back in the day. So some sort of early kind of supper club, but done on like a fine dining way. So very a very good restaurant back then. And after a few years over there, I told my chef, I'd like to do something different. Would you promote me as a sous chef or something like that? He goes, no, hold on, you're still young.
Slow your roll.
Yeah, I have an idea for you. How about cooking competition? And I'm like, well, I never heard of it. So he explained me the whole thing, and he took me, he became my mentor for those competition. Hopefully I got super successful. And it went.
But also you traveled.
Yeah, exactly.
All around the world.
Yeah, I qualified for the national competition. I got gold medal over there. Ended up with the Culinary Team Canada in Frankfurt a few years in Germany, and then I also compete as an individual, a junior chef challenge in New Zealand in 2002. Got gold medal over there.
That's amazing. I mean, it's just it must have formed your view of what the culinary world can do, other than just being in a kitchen, The
thing that I like the most about all this is the network that it creates. I still have people that I met back then as my best friend as today.
I love that.
And we keep contact. So, for example, I'm going this year. I met one of my competitor over there in New Zealand was from China.
Oh.
And we're meeting this summer. I'm going back to see him. He goes, come over with your family. So we're going to spend a month together in Shanghai and all around there.
Oh my God,
so,
I have chills. That's amazing. How exciting.
Yeah, and imagine like 26 years ago.
Right.
And we're back on track.
But you know what I think is interesting is your ability to network, even at a young age, sort of brings you to the role you're in today with Montreal and Lumière. So can you talk about the festival? I mean, I've been here for just 4 days of it, but this is an awesome 3-week behemoth. Could you talk to me a little bit about the festival?
Yeah, so imagine Coachella as a food festival instead of being music, and take that festival and put it into a very cold city during the long days of winter in February.
Let me just accentuate the one word there that may have gotten missed a little bit. The cold city, although one day was actually 40 degrees. It's just really cold today.
True.
But yes.
So the reasons was basically because, after St. Valentine's Day, where everyone went out, after that, the long days of the winter, the city was kind of it was just getting too slow. And so we had this idea of trying to bring, and Lumière means lights, right? So highlight festival, something that will create an event during the long days of winter.
But 3 weeks?
Why not?
I mean, that just okay. So for people who have not had the pleasure, tell me what is happening during these 3 weeks.
So 3 weeks. The first week we focused more on, we called it les bonnes tables, and it's sponsored by Air France. So we're gathering chefs from all around the world. We're talking about this year 90 chefs that are coming over the city.
And 90 chefs are going to 90 restaurants?
Almost. Some are even doing 2 restaurants.
Okay.
But yeah. And so they're doing a collab with local chefs. It helps obviously create relations, create networks in between chefs, and we're just so happy.
And what's your role in that? Are you putting chef and chef together? Are chefs inviting their own? And how does it roll out over the 3 weeks?
The chefs are getting better and better at doing collabs. I see that it's a trend now. And so,
internationally, without a doubt.
And obviously, if you think that you want to book a 3-star Michelin chef from France, you need to take a few months in advance to make sure that he's going to be able to make it. So some chefs do have their chefs in mind that they would like to have over. Some do not. So we do help some of them having, because we do have a short list or a wish list of people that we'd like to have over. And so we'll help for that. And after that, we obviously going to help for flights, for rooms, and we work for the logistic to help out the restaurants. And then we're going to create the promotion around it for the booking.
And you mentioned Michelin, which I think is interesting because this year, Montreal specifically now has Michelin, and also World's 50 Best North America. I mean, these 2 incredible accolades happened at the same time and gave a lot of love and attention to Montreal. How do you think that sort of positions Montreal under the Montreal Lumière Festival?
So it's kind of it creates the best timing ever, I believe so. We see it from inside. There's a boom around the food scene in Montreal. I'm more in the perspective that food and gastronomy is part of the culture and needs to be recognized more as they're artists. Chefs are artists. They're carving something, so that need to be put in front. And this is why Montréal Lumière is there to help them out, be recognized as artists.
I agree with you, and I love that they're recognized. But what I also love is that it's not just the chef in the kitchen who gets recognized. It's the somm, it's the front of the house, it's the hospitality, it's the running of the restaurant.
Absolutely.
Which all things have to work
Yeah.
in order for a restaurant to be successful. I mean, I know I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Nuit Blanche,
Yes.
because that's insane. Can you just run me through the numbers of that?
Yeah, well, in Nuit Blanche, you can think about we're fortunate enough to have a city where you can feel safe everywhere you're going.
Very
right?
true.
So because of that, we open all our museum overnight, all our transport. So metros are open, and it just create a big party in a one night.
All over the city.
All over the city.
So the city is
shuttles
like-
that can make you walk around and see like artists as much as dancers, as much as musicians, sculptures. It's
A Ferris wheel
Yep.
behind me.
Yep.
We got the Ferris wheel behind me.
True.
So the theme of the festival is sort of 65 years of Montreal.
Yes.
The nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, like I've been hearing at every restaurant I've been to, I've really been hearing about nostalgia.
Yes.
And how are you executing that? You have the competition tent over here. How are you infusing that into the vibe of the festival?
Okay, so nostalgia as first the idea came from an exposition that's happening right now at Musée McCord and
Which I saw.
Stewart. Au menu, we recognize 65 years of history of restaurants in Montreal. So for people that came to Montreal or never came to Montreal before, there's a few names like Schwartz or Fairmont Bagels.
Sure.
The few.
Well, actually, you mentioned the supper clubs, and there's a whole thing on supper clubs there.
Yeah.
And for an outsider coming to Montreal, getting a better understanding of the foundations that brought the food culture to where it is today, for me, it's so informative,
Right.
and it really helps me understand what's on the plate when I'm dining around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So we played around nostalgia for our festival this year, and it makes restaurants recreate either iconic restaurants or celebrate chefs that were famous back in the day. So we have that. We also have, like you mentioned, Village Gourmand right here downtown Montreal,
Right.
which is a huge tent where we receive chefs that comes for demos. We also do a food competitions with some students from cooking school all around. The competition obviously came from, like we discussed before,
Right.
my background in the
So did you
competition.
bring that idea?
Yeah,
Was
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I
and
love
the
that.
idea was at first to try to put chefs together and to compete, but then the timing, having chefs during a night, while they're busy
Right.
doing events in their restaurant wasn't really fortunate. So we took students, but again, just to bring the next generation in front line.
But it's also another way to bring in tourists and people from Montreal alike to celebrate the young people. Who knows where they'll be
Exactly.
in a couple of
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
right? Okay. I know you have a lot to do. I know it's spring break. They take that very seriously here in Montreal. If somebody is coming from Montreal, what are 3 things, whether they're from Canada or America or around the world, what are 3 things somebody should do when they come visit Montreal?
During the festival or at large?
Let's do 1 festival, 2 at large.
Okay. If you're coming for the festival, you definitely, this year, I would try to go, maybe Beba.
Yeah.
Is probably a good place to go. They're receiving a chef from New York,
Yeah.
a chef from
Zimmy's.
Zimmy. So that's a place I would go. I would try to walk by the St. Lawrence River. The spaces are beautiful. You can walk around. You can rent a canoe and spend some time on the Canal La Chine.
Maybe in April or May. Maybe not in February, but yes,
Right.
go ahead.
You can definitely climb Le Mont-Royal. You get the beautiful view of all around the city. And we're also known for the underground city. So there's over, I believe, 40% of our stores that are on the ground over here. And there's a whole network that you can do. It's kind of cool to do.
That is an excellent piece of advice because I missed that one.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right.
Yves Lowe, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Thank you. So if my first guest, Yves Lowe, helped us understand the scale of Montreal and Lumière, joining me now is Vanya Filipovich. Okay, she is the co-owner and wine director of Mal Le Pan. She's a natural wine advocate, and she's an incredible storyteller. But here's what's really cool and why I'm so excited to be sitting here with her, because like everybody wants to be with her right now. She was just named North America's Best Sommelier by North America's 50 Best Restaurants. And Mal Le Pan was ranked number 2 on North America's 50 Best Restaurant list. Oh my God. And now we have Michelin here. And wait, what did you get for that? Michelin
Sommelier of the year.
Of the year. So, you know, no slouch, right? I'm sure your siblings are like, wow, is she getting all the attention? So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so nice to have you. Speaking of your siblings or no siblings, tell me a little bit about growing up. Like, what got you on this trajectory in hospitality?
Yes, well, I really fell into the hospitality soup.
Okay.
When I was born, my family had restaurants growing up, and you know, it was
Here in Montreal?
So outside of Montreal, in the Laurentians, where the mountains are, where you go skiing, and then later on in the U.S. in Vermont, and so it was always just such a big part of my life. You know, it was my father was a chef, my mother was a wine director.
Okay.
So we traveled for food and wine, and we, you know, I really got to see the ins and outs of the business from a super young age.
That's incredible. But did they want you to go into the business?
Of course not. I think all restaurateurs fear that their children will, you know, one day have to succumb the intensity.
Catch the bug.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not an easy, you know, path to take.
It is not.
But
it seems sexy.
Sure.
The outsider thinks it's very sexy.
Yeah.
But it's so much work.
Yeah, but you know, it fuels us in such a unique and incomparable way. And so now they are thrilled.
Sure.
You know, and proud, I think.
And
no, it all worked out for the best, I think.
So let's talk a little bit about your trajectory. Joe Beef.
Yeah.
So in my short time here, I hear that a lot.
Of course.
It's like 6 degrees of separation. Almost everybody, like the tentacles of Joe Beef is insane. Talk to me about how you wound up there and how it informed your early years.
Well, I mean, Joe Beef is a 20-year-old institution. And now, you know, it started as just one entity, and now they really are a group. They have 5 incredible places.
Right.
I was lucky to be a part of the opening team. So 2005.
Okay.
Tiny team, tiny restaurant.
Were you in wine then? Like, did you flit around front of house, back of the house?
I was only front of house. I was super young, 23, I think, 22.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just such a creative moment and a very sort of unique model.
Why? Tell us more. Because I mean, for people in the United States who don't understand, because I'm fascinated by it, and I can't think of something to equate it to in the DC area. There's a couple places in New York that seem a little similar, but I'd love to hear the story.
It was just an extremely chef-driven place, you know, and so all the chefs, it spoke to everyone, you know, all the chefs flocked to this kind of new mecca of sincere generosity. It really was just excessive and opulent, but also extremely real and down to earth, ever-changing, incredible. And it still is incredible.
And did they really, at what point while you were there, were you like, wine is where I'm going to be, beverage is where I want to focus? So
2009, I came back from a life-changing trip to Europe, where I did some harvesting, some winery internships, where I knocked on a lot of doors, where I tried to just sponge up a lot of knowledge. And when I came back, I was lucky enough to start running the wine program at Joe Beef.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's a massive wine program.
It became really
Right?
fun, really massive.
So was it like, what was the most fun part for you initially? And I want to sort of lean into today a little bit, because to me, meeting all the people who create these wines, right? Like these little families all around the world, and then being able to share their stories just seems like such a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Of course.
Did they give you that opportunity?
Well, not only did they give me that opportunity, but they really set the table for promoting those values. So the food was really, and at the time, David McMillan used to say all the time that he never wanted to have any food where he couldn't call up the person that grew it, whether it's a farm or, vegetables, etc. And it was really the same for wine. It was the same. So it was, let's make sure that everything is, human-sized, nothing industrial. Let's make sure that everything is really built on family values, on, at a human scale.
And then how did you take that into Manlapan?
So,
And let's talk about Manlapan,
Sure.
because Manlapan is in Little Italy, but it's not Italian.
no.
And it's a wine bar.
It
Did people
is.
think you were kind of nuts when you opened it there?
I mean, I didn't think we were nuts, but maybe some people did.
Okay.
So it was at the time we had also opened Vin Papillon, which is still part of the Joe Beef Group today, which was a really effervescent and exciting, high energy, vegetable focused wine bar.
Okay.
Opened in 2013. Now that's still part of the Joe Beef Group. We opened in 2018 Mont Lapin.
Okay.
Initially, Mont Lapin was a tiny little spot. Lineups out the door, no reservations, everyone crammed in like sardines. And it just evolved because we got to take over the space next door, make it a little cozier, larger. So we started taking reservations. We kind of turned it from the wine bar to more of a restaurant kind of setting. And here we are today.
What was your ethos for the wine program there?
So we wanted to take all of those values and all of that, great, very personal relationships first, wine approach, and make it into a little wine mecca. We wanted all the wine lovers to flock there, so that was the idea.
So when we were there the other night, where we had really an incredible experience, our server, who was darling, it was a large-ish group, and he came over with 3 bottles each time. This is this, this is this, this is this, price, price, price. Is that how it's done?
Yeah,
or was that his idea?
No, we love that.
Okay.
We love giving, some visual options and bringing our favorites to the table, but also bringing our favorites for that moment, for those dishes, for that group, the part about where you listen to the guests is really, really what we love to do, which is why we have such a big list and why we have such a dynamic team that all loves wine. And
it's a massive list for a restaurant.
Sure.
How many seats is the restaurant?
50?
Yeah, it's a big list.
Yeah.
Are there regions right now that are really turning you on?
We're having so much fun with the high altitude, kind of Spanish, near Madrid, Ribera Sacra, that zone is really turning us on at the moment.
Okay.
Palomino from Andalusia also. We are, of course, always pouring lots of grower champagne. Coteau Champenois, so still champagne as well. Northern Italy, at the moment it's winter. It's got that alpine kind of energy, which fits the menu and the mood here so well. But we try not to limit ourselves. We try to just open ourselves up to falling in love every day with new things, and that's what we want to share with our guests.
With the introduction of North America World's 50 Best and Michelin coming here at the same time, the accolades that you have, how does it feel to have it all here, first of all, have the recognition here, not just for you and the restaurant, but for the city in general? And how does that sort of feed your future? So
Montreal has always sort of been an insider's best kept secret.
Okay.
We've always had a dynamic tourism scene of people from all over the world saying how, you know, especially in terms of food and wine, how it's just such a dynamic place. It does have that very unique, you know, je ne sais quoi because of the French persona.
Sure.
So it's nice to hear now Montreal being talked about even more. It's lovely for it to be on the scene in such a real and important way, you know. So that I think feels good for everybody. It feels great for everybody to have, you know, every neighborhood is being talked about as being so unique and so, you know, so cool to walk around and stop at all the little spots before maybe you head to that one dinner that you've, you know, been looking forward to. Certainly in my neighborhood, that's what I tell everyone, right?
Okay.
So
You mean where the restaurant is?
Right.
Because I could walk around that neighborhood for hours. It's just
incredible.
so darling.
Yeah.
And with Montreal and Lumière, why is it something that you're participating in? You know, because I sort of think to myself, you know, you're very famous. The restaurant is very famous. You don't have to, but you do. And actually, that's what's so interesting about all the restaurants here is that everybody's really excited.
Of course. Well, so it's the dead of winter. It's, you know, the coldest day of the year. Today is, I think, hitting minus 25 degrees. We are all dying to be together and to fill our restaurants with warmth and to warm ourselves with these collaborations and with, you know, an experience that's maybe not just another day. So it's really special. I love the Lumière Festival for that. I love the opportunity to really think about, okay, where in the world do we want to go? Who do we want to invite? Who do we admire? Who do we want to work with? Who do we want to celebrate? It's a unique experience. It's an opportunity.
Well, I felt really blessed to be able to go to the collaboration that you did.
It was amazing to have you. It was great.
Well, it was amazing to have the people that you had there.
Yeah.
You know, it was, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So the theme this year was sort of the Montreal history and nostalgia of Montreal. So we decided to work with a family that is so inspiring here. And the chef retired a few years ago. His name is Armand Forcherio. And he is really an icon in Montreal, but kind of an... you know, maybe not front and center so much.
Sort of if you know, you know.
Exactly, exactly. He is just always brought his own heritage to his cooking. So he's from Nice, south of France, also has some Italian roots. And so,
well, it's so close.
Right, the Côte d'Azur, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So that Mediterranean, wonderful, you know, very, very simple but mastered Niçois food. And his twin brother is a sommelier, still today, still on the floor at a restaurant called Luciano, worked for 10 years at an institution here called Tokay. I mean, really just an incredible wine person. And their daughter, Armand's daughter,
yes.
yeah, who was also part of the story and who is part of the new generation and who works closely with us at our new place called Rôtisserie La Lune. So it was just such a natural fit to invite them to celebrate their culinary legacy and their wine philosophy and to collaborate on a night.
I'm sort of curious, what is it like to sort of be a younger somm and then have somebody with this other sort of institutional memory to sort of sit at the table together and taste wines, pair wines, have those kind of conversations?
Well, that's what we live for, right? It's like when you play tennis, you want to play against Federer, you know, you want to get better.
Right.
I think that's why we do this, is to always surround ourselves with people who know more than us and hopefully learn a thing or two. And
it just sounds so fun. Okay,
Yeah.
so yesterday I was at this wonderful event and I talked with Mila and she told me about, I'm going to say it incorrectly, table ronde?
La table ronde, very
La
good.
table ronde. Close.
Well
okay.
done.
So this is a new thing that restaurants are doing here in Montreal. Can you talk a little bit about it? Because I just think it's so inspiring.
Yeah, so we're celebrating our 5th birthday this year. It's a collective that was born in the pandemic. sort of as a route to getting some answers and finding some solutions in a really difficult time, which was, restaurant closures. And we had an epic 14-month closure here in Quebec, so it was particularly brutal for restaurants. And it was a way for us to identify our priorities, come together, share some best practices also, and share some of our, our daily, let's say, worries, and just share a little bit about each other's realities.
What are you doing? How are you doing this, right?
And it became this amazing force where we're finding a collective voice to represent independent restaurants. All over the province, not just in Montreal. We have over 200 members now today.
Amazing.
And it's all about, identifying solutions for the future, but celebrating certain elements of our industry that desperately need attention. So whether that's our talents, meaning our workers, who need to be valued and celebrated, who need to come back to this industry as a viable place of work.
Yeah, is staffing shortages a problem?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's big in the States
And
too.
we're really trying to just bring value to these careers, because they are careers, and to bring up a new generation of amazing chefs, sommeliers, servers, etc., and who feel like it's a space where they can grow and where they can really thrive.
Have a career.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have 5,000 restaurants here in Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, you need people to work them.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Last question, and I'm so appreciative of your time. What are 3 things every visitor should do when they come to Montreal?
So hard to limit it to 3.
I know. Well,
Oh boy.
let's keep it easy. I'll come back to you for more.
Okay. So.
Because I'm coming back, and I'm going to be like, where should I
Good.
go? What should I do?
Okay. So, I don't know if bagels are a thing where you live.
Okay, I'm from New Jersey and New York.
Okay.
Bagels are a thing.
Okay.
And there's a big, like, Montreal,
Yes.
New York bagel thing.
So you got to dive in, and what you have to do is you have to go in person, because you can buy bagels kind of all over, but you have to go in person to Saint Viator and Fairmount. You have to go to both.
So I went to Fairmont.
Okay. Did you ask for a hot bagel?
I had a hot bagel.
Good. So they're coming straight from the wood fire oven. They're really just 24 hours a day producing these bagels.
I know. So Olivier told me that, like, late night, people sit
Late night
outside
is the
having
best.
a bagel and cream cheese. I was like, where was that when I was 25? I
Yes.
would have loved that.
Yes. So you have to try both, and
Okay.
you have to make your own opinion as to, which one
What team are
you
you
prefer. Oh, I can't say. No, I can't.
Or you can tell me later. Okay, what else? Give me 2 others.
Okay, so that's one for sure. The second one would definitely be Marché Jean Talon, which is our biggest and most incredible market, open 365 days a year.
It is pretty fabulous.
It's so fabulous. It's got the butchers, the fromagerie, the incredible pâtisseries, but most importantly, all of the vegetable farmers. It's truly a must. You can hang out there for lunch. You can fill your bags. And
I wanted to touch everything.
Oh,
it was
my
so
God.
fantastic.
yeah, so that's for sure a must.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then right around the corner from there is a place called Chez Tousignan. Not sure if you've been already, but they make the best poutine.
Oh, no, I did not go. Do you know I've been here for 4 days? I mean, I don't feel like I have to because I've eaten so well.
Yeah.
But I have not had poutine.
Oh my gosh. Well, there are a lot of different places to go, but it's in my neighborhood, Chez Tousignan. I love Stefano and Michele who own it.
Okay.
And they make a real, with great ingredients, poutine like you just can't get anywhere.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Vanya, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. A treat.
Congratulations
Thank
for
you.
all your success.
You're so kind.
And
Thank you.
thank you for the great tips. And I cannot wait to come back to Mont Lapin.
Can't wait to have you.
Or
Thank
the
you
new
so much.
space. The new space too.
Yeah,
Okay.
La Lune.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So great to talk to Vanya because she really brought an interesting hospitality perspective and a rich history of what she's experienced here in Montreal. And you're going to hear the name Joe Beef again because I got another student of Joe Beef. Everything is like 6 degrees of separation. And with me right now is Chef Ari Shore. He's originally from Argentina, and then moved with his family to Winnipeg. But he grew up in a house where food was prominent. Asados with your father. I want to hear more about that. His mother was also a cook. And he did go to culinary school. But then, he, after being with Joe B for over 6 years, he and his brother Pablo opened up this little gem of a restaurant called Beba. And it's really this stunning little place in this little off the beaten path neighborhood where he's really executing the menu he wants. And I think we're all grateful for it because it just got put on World's 50 Best North America, number 50. And it is just, having been there just last night, it is just this tight, buzzy, comfy little place, great playlist, but you're really doing a menu that speaks to you. So thank you so much for joining me.
No, it's my pleasure, Nycci.
So talk a little bit about how you were fed that brought you to where you are today with being brought up in Argentina.
So in Argentina, I mean, for any Argentine family, for the most part, like the table is kind of like the place where we all congregate, no matter what's going on during the day. Dinners are late, lunches are long, and things like that. So I grew up in a household with two parents who still are amazing cooks. My dad, setting up the parrilla on the weekends to make the asado and cooking every night. My mother she started decorating cakes and making cakes for our birthdays. Like, it was honestly like, it was a dream,
Sounds very idyllic.
It was crazy, honestly, to think about it now as a parent, being like, wow, they
How'd
put
they do
so
it?
much work. How do they find the time?
I know.
I know there were different times, but nevertheless, it was really always present. And then my grandmother, Beba, who we named the restaurant after. For us, it was always a trip to go to her house. And
So is Beba a bubby?
well, Beba literally means like little baby. She was the little baby of the family. She was the one girl with two brothers. And going there was really special. So we lived in Ushuaia, which is a very, very small, very remote part of Argentina. And then we'd go visit them in Buenos Aires. We'd stay there for a month at a time. My parents would sometimes come, sometimes not. And it was always, what are we eating today? What are we doing today? You know what I mean? So much going around, especially around food, that was so important. Trying new things with them, going to restaurants with them, all these different situations.
Did you have a voracious appetite as a child?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would try.
I was like, I couldn't get enough of things as a child. I needed to taste everything. I wanted to touch everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're curious as a child, and it's a perfect time to kind of like absorb all these things, And I remember specifically the moment, the real spark, especially, that really got me into food and cooking. Like, really, really, really. I was 12 years old, and my neighbor had a recipe for panettone. We had Italian neighbors.
Yeah.
And I was just like looking at it, I was like, okay, that looks like a science experiment. I'm gonna do it. And I succeeded. And it was it's so hard.
That's a
and
hard
I mean, I didn't do the
cake.
whole like hanging them upside down and all that stuff, but like, it was so good. And I was just like, wow, I made this, This came from my hands, and it was so satisfying. And I think that's kind of what took it off.
What brought your family up to Canada?
So in the mid-90s, Argentina wasn't doing so well economically, and my parents, they're very, very smart. They started teaching us English and Spanish basically at the same rate.
Oh, amazing.
My mother's side part of my mother's side is from England.
Okay.
So by the time I was 10, 11 years old, my parents were like, okay, we need to find our family a better life. And so they were looking around at all the different Anglophone countries in the world, and England was too far. Australia was too far mentally, and then there was like the US, it was tough to get into. Canada seemed like an easier option. And then there was a headhunter from the Jewish community that came down looking for young professionals. So that's a connection.
Interesting.
And so my parents went to visit Winnipeg in the middle of February 1997, like one of the harshest winters they ever had. And then they came back and they're like, we loved it, we're going.
Wow.
Yeah. So
your formative years, you're in Winnipeg. Where was the draw of Montreal?
That came a bit later, you know, like you have to give credit to like Anthony Bourdain, for example, and all the shows that he filmed here and all that kind of stuff, you know, that was more of like, that was the exposure. And then you see him eating at all these places like at Joe Beef, au Pied Cochon, going like, and it just, it gave me this kind of like feeling that I was like, that feels like the place where you go to cook in Canada. For me, for my style of cooking, for what I wanted to eat and do.
So where were you cooking at that time?
Well, in Winnipeg, I was going through a lot of different, there are a lot of different places that I worked at, probably like I had about 7 or 8 different jobs. Not a lot of like long-lasting jobs because I felt like there was only so much that I could learn at every place, you know?
Did you want to start at Joe Beef? Like when you came here, you were like, that's where I want to go?
Well, actually, I was traveling through Europe with my brother before moving here, and I sent my friend Derek Damon, my friend now Derek, who owns Grill Nature in the West Island with Dave McMillan. I sent him an email, or I was about to send him an email because I really wanted to work at his restaurant DNA that was really like, you know, cured meats and offal and like that kind of stuff that I love cooking, and they were closing. And I was just like, okay, cool. Well, that seemed like a more attainable goal, and then I was just like, can I make it? Can I get into Joe Beef with my experience? And at my age, I was already 28, so like not a young cook, you know?
Right.
So.
But was Joe Beef really high pressure for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
At the beginning, yeah. It was a big shift, a very different way of working. You know, like your menu's changing almost daily, you know, things coming in all of a sudden, like...
Well, plus, how big is that dining room?
Well, I mean, back then even, but now even... now it's bigger, but back then you still had with the patio or the terrace in the back, you had about 100-ish seats.
Yeah.
So, and then to have like kind of like a living, breathing kind of approach to food, where you're not just like static menu, not changing, you know. It really like all of a sudden a farmer shows or a forager shows up with like 10 pounds of the most beautiful chanterelles you've ever seen, and we're like, okay. Start cleaning them. They're on the menu in 2 hours on top of your other stuff. So I consider those years between Joe Beef and running the kitchen at Liverpool House almost like a finishing school of sorts.
Sure.
You know, kind of like preparing to...
You were at Liverpool House for 6 years?
6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I was running it for about 6 years. I think I was there for almost 7 years. Yeah.
And what was the moment where you're like, I'm ready to do my own thing?
I think it came from a few things. Number one, I would say like I had met my wife, and she'd grown probably really tired of me always saying and being a little bit procrastinator, being like, oh, you know, I really want to do my own thing or whatever. And then at one point she was just like, what are you waiting for?
Just do it.
Just do it. And you know, like she's my rock, and she's. You know, she really pushed me there. And then around that time, I was talking to my brother who was living in Vancouver at the time, and I was just like, listen, man, I'm not going to Vancouver, so if you want to do this, come out here. Come out here and check it out.
What is his role?
So Pablo has a lot of background working in cocktail bars. He managed a few in Vancouver.
I mean, your Amaro offering is insane.
Yeah. No, we take that very seriously, and so that was his focus. And then his job has grown in many ways. You know, he's not bartending every night anymore. You know, but like he's really like. He's the person that allows me to kind of like fly a lot. He's always like he does bookkeeping, accounting.
I was gonna say,
all
is he
these
the brick
things.
and you're the balloon?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying to make it so that, you know, I hate to, you know, be like the only one that can fly in some instances, you know. So I just really want to make sure that we can kind of like over time like develop, you know, like things that he wants to focus on too. But he's really good at that. He's so good at like figuring out the financials and anything that has to do with the nuts and bolts of running the restaurant.
But you have a partner.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
everybody who has a restaurant has that.
And a brother.
Right.
You know,
which is also
the one
really
person
wonderful.
you can, the one person you should really be able to trust. Your next of
Absolutely.
kin. So. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Beba and sort what that menu's, what your envisionment was of that menu. It's a tiny You know, I was mentioning like Liverpool and Joe Beef because they are larger properties, and now you have this really little gem. How many? What is it? How many seats?
28 seats. It's 650 square feet. I
Yes.
joke around that like the majority of people have apartments
Is
that are bigger.
Yeah, yeah,
it's true.
But really warm, really hospitable. But you have a very, when we were talking last night, you're like, this is my menu, and like, this is my music, and like, people who come here are like,
It's Pablo's music, actually.
oh, it's
He does the
public.
playlist
He
too.
does
Yeah.
have a good playlist.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're like, this is what we are doing.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're doing it without a sense of hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
You really are. But I'd love to hear about what you wanted to put on the menu that
Mm-hmm.
you just you weren't getting the ability to do, or not in the way you wanted to.
Well, the thing about working for somebody else is that they set the parameters.
Sure.
And as a good employee, you must respect those parameters, and you can kind of like, you know, throw things in here or there as long as they fit within. The toughest part from going from being an employee to being the boss fully is like, I set the parameters now, you know, so then you really have to do a deep dive and start thinking, what would I enjoy? What would I, and that's really the drive for the creation of the menu. It's just like, I like eating this. I'm going to serve this. How am I going to serve it? The way that I would eat it, you know?
But let's talk about some of the things on the menu, because what I thought was really interesting, like you had a knish on the menu
Yeah.
topped with caviar.
That's right.
And as I mentioned to you off air, one of the things I found really interesting about Montreal is the deep celebration of the Jewish heritage that is here and their contribution to the culinary arts here and the hospitality scene. How does that sort of, do you lean into that heritage at all when you're thinking about your menu? Is it just because of part of what you're growing up with? I mean, Vanya talked about bagels, you know, and I think the celebration of bagels in this city is so fascinating.
And the competition with New York.
Oh, well, they're really two different animals.
Exactly.
We don't need to go there now. But I'm sort of curious of what your take of it is.
So for me, it's not necessarily trying to push it in any sort of way. It's just part of who I am, and it's
Right.
going to make it on the plate. You know, case in point, the knish. That's a perfect example. You know.
And a really good one, by the way.
Yeah, it's and you know it serves its purpose. It's delicious, and we wanted to serve caviar, and I was just like, okay, this works together. The montadito, the second course that you had, the little mackerel dish, that
tasted like
that tastes like a deli.
pickled
Yeah,
herring.
that's like a deli.
Yes.
But you know what? It's also like not, because you know it's Japanese fish cured a certain way, and you know it like. Everything that we do at the restaurant has to come from somewhere, and especially from within. That's the most important part. You know, from an experience, from a trip, from your childhood, from wherever. It has to have a point of reference. You know, if it's historical and it's something that people can relate to, connect with, you know, that's great because it's easier to sell.
Sure.
But if you have to sell them on your story too, that's also important.
Well, I mean, you know, this whole, the Montreal Lumière really leaning into nostalgia, I just think you're doing that anyway. You know, you're taking new, but also taking old and sort of putting them together for what's on the menu. What I think is interesting is you've got World's 50 Best here now, Michelin.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's I think it's great to have these guides, these lists, promote the city first and foremost, because it's not, you know, it's not about where we end up. It's about where we all end up in a way. You know, I see, you know, chefs, a lot of chefs, or mostly for the good part, kind of like focusing more and working smarter. To get better quality ingredients, to work with suppliers, to work within their business to achieve a better, higher quality product, something more delicious, something, you know, and that to me is a great drive, you know. I am, you know, from a business perspective, it's incredible. Like, you know, it has changed.
I mean,
it has
I know
changed the restaurant.
it
Because the
does.
diners changed too.
Well,
you know,
sure,
the
think
people
of who
watching
uses
these lists.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
That's it. Are we chasing stars in any form, shape, or way? No.
Okay.
We are going to keep quasi-stubbornly doing what we do and doing it to the best of our ability. If we get recognition for that, I'm floored.
Well, so like I'm sort of curious, do you feel like, oh, now I have to do a tasting menu, or do you feel the pull to have to appeal in certain ways?
No.
Okay.
It's the opposite. And we've all actually.
You're a contrarian.
We yeah. I mean,
I know it when I see one.
I find that the best. My favorite restaurants are the ones where you can really see the heart and the identity of the people running it in the room, on the plate, through the speakers, whatever it may be. Whatever part of the experience you're talking about. So, like I said, we're if any recognition that comes, we're so thankful for it. But the recognition has to come from what we did and what we set out to do, rather than changing our ways to fit a certain mold. And you can do that more easily with a small restaurant where you have all the control.
Well, and also you've made some changes, which I think are really interesting about how now that you have small children and being a father, and how that plays about how you run the restaurant. I was talking with Vanya, and we've been talking to a lot of people, not just here in Montreal, but just sort of internationally, that the way a restaurant runs needs to change to accommodate how people live their lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how are you affecting that change?
So the first thing I had to start doing is step away from the stove, like at nights, and that was hard.
I bet.
Because I was just like, oh my God, people have this expectation and whatever, and like you're in, it's like 11 o'clock at night and you're home and you're like, oh, is everything going okay? But then you realize, hey, I can train people. I can find amazing people to work with me, and they will take care of this. So distancing myself in that aspect was a little bit tough. I had to rework my whole schedule. So now, since my kids go to school in the morning, I drop them off. I go to the restaurant. I spend the whole day in the restaurant, tasting, working on dishes, developing things, talking to the cooks, hanging out a little bit. Then I go pick them up. And I take them home, and most nights we do dinner bedtime together with my wife, although as of late she's been doing more of that because I've been busier at the restaurant.
Sure.
And then,
it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah, that's it. And then when they go to sleep, I can go back to the restaurant. I can go and still live that part of the restaurant life that I love so much. But at the same time, like I'd give up a lot of things for my kids. So I don't mind.
But I think it's so short term.
Yeah.
And I think you're finding a balance, which I love.
Trying, yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
It's very hard, yeah.
Okay, somebody's coming to Montreal.
Yeah.
What are the 3 things they need to do?
The 3 things they need to do in terms of food, or just like in general?
So let's do a food, something else. Like,
okay.
If I'm coming and you're like, Nycci, this is what you need to do while you're here.
Okay, let's see. I don't get out much anymore, so it's hard to think. Okay, so the first thing that people do is they just spend their whole time in the city. And I think get out, go to the Laurentians up north in the winter, or go down to the eastern townships in the summer. It's just, there's so many great producers, so many little areas to check out. Don't just stay in the city. The city's incredible, there's no question about that. I would say go for a long lunch somewhere.
Okay.
Like the long leisurely lunch is still alive and well.
Where would you pick?
It depends what I wanted to do. If I wanted to go something more casual, I'd go to Snowden Deli, which is my place, one of my favorite places. Or you go to L'Express, you show up there at 1:30, 2 o'clock when the rush has died down, and you stayed there till 5. And I've done that for my birthday with my wife before, and
How fun.
It's amazing. And then for a third thing, just I really love just being able to just pick a neighborhood and spend time in that neighborhood and get to know the neighborhood.
I call it schmying.
There you go.
I like to schmy.
Yeah.
Just walk around, look in windows.
Yeah. And
I go into every patisserie.
Yeah, grab a coffee, grab a croissant, keep walking around, and discover a little neighborhood, which is an amazing way to travel, rather than just be like, oh my God, we have to be on this side of the city now and then over there. It's not Manhattan, you're not traveling like that all day long. So just focus on a little neighborhood, and and go from there.
Amazing. Chef
Fantastic.
Chef
Thank
Ari,
you so much.
Beba,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Congratulations again on all your accolades, and thank you
you
for
so
feeding me so well the other
Thank you so
evening.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, Chef Ari reminds us that memory and migration, for him it all winds up on the plate. But joining me next is Chef David Lepage. He is the executive chef, and I am going to butcher the French of this. He says it so much nicer than me. Hugen et Bouffard? It was a close?
That's perfect.
Okay, great. But he has an insane resume. He's traveled all around the world working with Daniel Boulud, Cafe Boulud. He was in New York. He was in the Bahamas. He was in London. He was in Montreal, but now he's back in Montreal. So I'm so excited to have you here working with me today. I got to spend some time with Chef in his kitchen. There was a bunch of demo cookings and chatting, so I got to learn a little bit about him. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
so
you.
let's
Happy
talk a
to
little
be
bit
here.
about you growing up, and what got you into this?
Well, so I grew up a bit outside of Montreal, but quickly when I was in my early 20s, I moved to Montreal. I studied at ETHQ,
Okay.
so like many chefs here.
Yes.
And
I'm so impressed at how important that school is to the culinary world here in Montreal.
yeah, I think it shaped a lot of careers. Like they have really good programs, very good teachers. Have some like mentors, like my first people who taught me how things were done, and also they're very well connected. So they connected me and many others to like
internships?
different chefs in the city, but also abroad. They have like great connection in France, in Italy.
Did you do all that?
Well, yeah. I studied Italian cooking, so I went to Italy. They sent me to
That
Italy.
sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I
It
know.
was really great. Yeah. I figured I was in a city where like French cooking is very present. So I was like I'm interested in
Let's expand.
learning to cook Italian food and also the language. So I was like,
My husband's an Italophile, and he
Okay.
speaks fluent Italian. I don't speak another language. I feel moronic about that, but that must have been quite the experience. And where did you want to take that when you were ready to cook on your own? Where did you want to go? Like, were you like, I have to go to New York, I have to go to London? Did you have a set plan of what was a priority for your cooking?
no. I did not. I was just going with, like, I guess I had an interest in traveling. That's for sure. Like always. Like, I did not know. I applied for a scholarship that I did not get.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And yeah.
What's wrong with them?
So I did not get it. Like it was like a Relais Chateau thing. Like I could go, and I did not get it. And but the chef who was I was working with, Stelio Perron-Bellon, he said, "Well, you know what? Like, let me help you. I know some people in New York. I'll
Okay.
send you in New York." So I went to New York in this great restaurant by British chef Paul Brent, Corton. It's now closed.
I know.
So I spent a couple months there, and then from there, like I've met like incredible people. They sent me to do a trail at Daniel. So that's where it all started.
And what was your experience working with Chef Boulud? Because I've interviewed him a couple times. The very first time I interviewed him, he was in my studio, and his skin is so beautiful. I'm like, what? Did you get a facial every night? Like, his skin is like so glowy and so pretty, given how hard and long he works,
Yeah, he works hard.
He's a hard worker.
Oh, he's always there. He
Yes.
lives above his restaurant, above Daniel, so he's always present. And on my first day at Daniel, like I was doing like his a day, like a trial shift, and they brought me to this. He has his office is overlooking the kitchen, and so I went to meet him, and from there, he was always there, and he's always been very interested in Montreal, like very close. He's close with a lot of chefs.
He was here last week. Yeah.
Yeah, he's here every year, many times with his restaurant.
He and there's a couple of these older celebrity chefs,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not riding on their celebrity fame. You know, like Wolfgang Puck, Daniel Boulud, both of them are, their demands of their staff are so high because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they expect you to work as hard as they do. And when you have that bar, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of work for sure. But I mean, working in a restaurant is like every chef works hard. No?
No. But you know what I mean. Like, I think I think when you are the boss, and you work at a certain level, you expect everybody to be at that level.
Yeah.
It's different when you're a boss and you're like, I want you to work at this level, but I'm over, I'm going home to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I think for me, it's always been a motivation to see these people working.
Mm-hmm.
To see my head chef and a guy like Daniel working that hard. Like, I wanted to work as hard or even harder just to be at the same level, to get close, to get a chance to. I didn't want to miss anything, so like I would make sure I would get there early. I would, if there was an event, I wouldn't mind working extra hours, and in the long run, I guess it stays with you, and you become like that.
What were some of the things, given especially your training in Italy? What were some of the things that when you were working at any of the restaurants that you were able under Danielle to take? Were you like, I can do this with this? Like, how did it form sort of what you're cooking today?
Like, that's a good question.
Okay, I'm really good at this.
Yeah, but I'm not sure there is. I'm not quite sure exactly how this. How I end up cooking the way I cook right now, but for sure there's a lot of influence from Italian background, because it's kind of first love, you know. But also with Danielle, Danielle loves Italian food, so like I guess it's not that working with Danielle. Yes, I learned about like classic French cooking and modern French cooking, but Italian was always present. And also in Montreal, I worked 5 years with Riccardo Bertolino, who's an Italian chef, who's been trained by Danielle and by other French chefs. So I guess it was always there. So it's not a surprise that I like to cook pasta right now.
Sure.
Or I have a lot of Italian influences.
Well, actually, yesterday we talked a lot about pasta, right? Because the chef owner and his wife at the restaurant love pasta.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about their restaurant and what brought you there, because they are a live fire restaurant.
Yeah.
Beautiful cooking over the wood. And that's sort of a trend now nationally, but when they, nationally in the States, but when they started it 10 years ago, there was nobody doing that here.
Yeah.
And so now that you're here with them, how is that, like, have you ever done that before? Like, was that all new?
No, absolutely not. And it's totally a trend. Like in every city in the world, like in London, it was a big thing. There's a crazy restaurant like Brat, or
in DC we
Dorian,
have Medan and we have Albe. You know, somebody said to me, "Oh, there's only one." I was like, "No, there's not. There's like 15. Like, there's a lot of it."
I get this is because the flavor is incredible. The authenticity of the food that comes from it. But I was thrilled when coming back to Montreal. I was like, okay, what do I do now? Like, I wanted to come back to be close to my family and my roots. But I briefly worked with Marc-André over a decade ago.
Okay.
And we always got along like great. And we kept like the relationship. Like, I would come back to Montreal and I would come and see him and his restaurant. I knew he was doing great, like, and wood fire cooking. And I would see this fire pit and it's like, wow, this is great. And then, so when he proposed, I joined the project for the reopening. I was like,
Perfect.
yes, absolutely.
So how do you two work together? Like with what's on the menu and what's being served, how does that get, is that a good partnership for you?
Yeah. Very well. I think we have, we understand each other. I think we have similar, we like similar things in food. We cook differently, but in the end, I think we meet. Like our style is not so different. Like in terms of ingredients, and we get along very well. So there are always like conversation. We have conversation about like, especially before the opening. There's so much conversation about what we will cook, and
yeah, of course.
And it's always been great. So and he put a lot of trust in me as well. So.
But the good news is about that restaurant, to me, like especially like compared to Ari's restaurant, like Beba, like the kitchen is like the size of this chair.
Yes.
I mean, you have that big wood oven, but then you have an entire kitchen behind.
Yeah.
I mean, the space is really large, so it gives you a lot of room to play and to really do things. You guys are doing a collaboration. Did you already do it? With Johnny Lake?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, it was great.
Was it fun?
Oh, it was fantastic.
And how did you guys execute that for the Festival Montreal and Lumière?
Yeah, so I've met Johnny Lake during my time in London, and he's like, we found out like that he studied at ITHQ as well, under the same teacher, Pasquale Vari, and so. We became like close. We became friends in London, and I knew that when I would have a chance, like it'd be the first one I invite for Montreal and Lumière. So it was fantastic. Yeah, he comes from he's been chef at Fat Duck for 15 years.
Right.
Before having his own restaurant, who has 2 Michelin star. The recipes, he sent like a package of recipes. Everything is like this. It was a pleasure to work with him.
When he sent the menu items that he wanted to do, were you like, yes, I want to do this. This is so great.
Yeah, the menu was great.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and the reception was great too. Like people loved it. It was really a pleasure to work with him and to see him like so happy to be back in the city.
Fun. I just love all the collaborations that have been going on here. Like it just seems to make everybody so happy because everybody's sort of leaning into the nostalgia, of what they did and now what they're doing. And I think it's amazing. Okay. So I'm coming to Montreal.
Yes.
What are the 3 things I need to do?
Okay. Coming to Montreal. Well, depends what time, but there's always a crazy festival going on. So, like right now it's Montreal Lumière, you get the Jazz Festival, or Francophonie, but there's also a lot of like smaller festival like Cinema or like Nuit d'Afrique. So there's always something happening in Montreal. So that'd be number 1. I tell you to.
Okay, look
let's
at the calendar.
Look what's happening because something cool is happening. Second. We would probably go for. I mean, I'm sure everyone's saying bagel, so obviously that's. But
wait, what team are you? I should have asked you. What team are you on?
Oh, I'm Fairmont Bagel.
You are Fairmont.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
The city is completely divided.
Yeah. But we make the best bagel in the world, I think.
Okay, that's a gauntlet thrown as a girl from New Jersey, New York.
Yeah,
that's
no,
a-
but
that's for
I
another
lived
day.
I lived in New York for many years, and they're great too. They're different.
But
they're
so,
different.
like, to me, this is a Montreal bagel, and this is a New York bagel, right? Like, New York bagels are, like, big and fluffy, and Montreal bagels are smaller and denser and sweeter.
Yeah, but can you get a freshly baked New York bagel at midnight?
No, you
Not
cannot.
not like in Montreal. That's the good thing about Montreal, because it's cooked live,
Right.
and you go and it's just been cooked.
No, I mean,
So I think that's why Montreal bagel are so good. That's
I-
not because the recipe is better. Or,
but no, I understand. So Olivier told me, you know, we were at Fairmont, and he said, yeah, you know, if I'm out late at 2:00 in the morning, I get a bagel and cream cheese. And I was like, oh, I would have loved that. That sounds amazing. So I totally get the culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
festivals, bagels.
Well, I was gonna say I would go for Portuguese chicken.
Oh,
Yeah.
where? Where am I going?
On the
Portuguese?
plateau, there's a couple of places. There's very traditional Ramados, but now there's Ma Poule Mouillée. That's great. I think
Okay.
that's a very good staple from Montreal, because Montreal has a staple for rôtisserie chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something like Saint-Hubert, or like it's very like we all grew up with that.
Right.
But
Well,
I
and
feel
then
the
there's the
Portuguese, they
women.
make their like it's like a spatchcock chicken, and
Okay.
it's roasted over charcoal with they have their own spice
Sauce.
mix. It's fantastic. I think it's
Okay.
great. Yeah.
Okay, I'll add that to my list. No, just about the rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
I understand there were these women, like in the 50s, who created like delivery, like the original Uber Eats with their roast chicken.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No?
well, you have to go to the museum and see the exhibit. But yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I know how busy you are, and I so appreciate your time.
Thank you
David.
for having me.
Great.
It's very nice.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a picture.
Yeah.
We're done.
Okay.
So I appreciate you waiting, because I know you were here first.
So as I reflect back on all those wonderful interviews and all the amazing things I got to do in Montreal, I'm so grateful that I got to do this Montreal edition of Industry Night. But I really keep coming back to something I felt over and over while I was in Montreal. It really doesn't just celebrate food. It contextualizes it. You know, through Montreal and Lumière, the city just lit up with all these fabulous things to do. And I went to art galleries, and I was on that Ferris wheel, and I ate terrific food. But most importantly, people shared their stories. There is so much intention out there. You know, with Yves Lowe, we saw the scale and global reach. 90 chefs, 17 countries. It's just amazing. Over 800 culinary guests. With Vanya, we learned how Montreal's wine culture has reached global recognition. I mean, North America's best sommelier 2025, and her restaurant is ranked #2. It's really amazing. Ari Shore, oh my God, we explored migration and memory and the power of cooking. I mean, there is a reason that Beba is ranked 50 on North America's 50 best. And with David LaPlage, we saw how international technique can return home and really take root in local soil. So I am so grateful to all the people that hosted me here and for the ability to do this show here at the Montreal and Lumière Festival. Special thanks to Olivier Lapierre for making this all happen. Stay tuned to my Instagram feed, where you will see all the things I did, all the things I ate. And yes, for those of you who texted me, did I go to Bota Bota? I did, and I will be talking about that as well. So of course, follow me at NYCCI, NELLIS on all the platforms. Don't forget to like, to follow, to subscribe, and of course, DM me questions if you have them. I am delighted to answer. I hope you enjoy the show. Be safe out there and have a delicious week.
Produced by Heartcast Media.